Hey everyone, in this video I want to talk about why you should trust people. And to put it simply, it's because it will make your life better. Now, I know that it's rather easy to develop trust issues if you ended up getting into relationships pretty early on in your life and you ended up getting with just anyone, because let's face it, the younger we are, the more likely we are to make bad decisions, and that's usually the time where we choose people who just aren't great partners and they end up breaking our trust and doing other things that make us develop issues and insecurities that can affect our future relationships. And the reason why trust issues, or if you're not quite on that level, but even where you just struggle to trust new people or feel like people should earn your trust, that's a problem because it will greatly hamper your ability to attract and keep high quality partners. And that's the whole goal in life. We're all trying to attract high quality partners because these are the people who are actually worth getting into long-term relationships with. And if you're into marriage, they're people worth marrying and starting a family with. So the whole goal is to develop ourselves to be able to attract these people and then keep them. And if you have trust issues or you think that people should earn your trust in relationships, then I hate to break it to you, but that's going to greatly hurt your ability to attract these people. To put it simply, they don't want to put up with figuring out what your triggers are or just dealing with you being insecure about them doing certain things, like going out with their friends. If you accuse them of that being a potential opportunity for them to cheat on you, then they're not going to like that, especially if they're actually a good person and they have no plans of cheating on you. If you're always accusing them of doing that, guess what? You're going to really annoy them, and at some point they're going to just decide they don't want to put up with that anymore, and they're going to break up with you. So this is the whole problem here. High quality partners don't want to deal with people who have those issues with trusting them, because they know that there are plenty of people out there who don't have that problem at all, and they're willing to go after them and drop anyone who wants them to earn their trust. So this is why you should work on your trust issues. And a way of doing this is basically take the mentality, and I know that this can be kind of hard, but take the mentality of treating each former relationship as an individual issue. So if you had a partner when you were early on who cheated on you and broke your trust and basically did all sorts of things that made you lose trust in them and future people, please try to understand that this was one individual scenario with one person. And maybe it's been more than one person for you. Maybe it's been around 5 people, hopefully less than that, but sometimes I understand it may be more. But hopefully you've had a fewer rather than more. But try, even if you've had more of these relationships, try to just treat all of them as individual cases, because that's what they really are. You see, the problem here, and the reason why people will often end up attracting people who will continuously break their trust, is because once you've had one relationship like that where somebody broke your trust repeatedly, you may get into the habit where you believe that this is how relationships are. You think that it's acceptable and okay for someone to be that way. It's basically, you will tolerate people who are like that more going forward because it's what you know. So that's how people end up getting in those repeating cycles where they just keep going after one bad partner after another. The problem here is a lack of self-love usually, where they don't love themselves enough to be comfortable being single long enough to work on themselves, to allow themselves to heal from past trauma so that they will only tolerate higher quality people going forward. It usually is a problem of standards, having low standards where you will tolerate people who will break your trust. High quality people sometimes may struggle to figure out whether or not somebody's worthy of trusting, but they usually will trust people from the beginning and then let people lose their trust. And the way they operate is that if somebody loses their trust, then they break up with them. That's the proper thing to do. Trust people from the beginning and let them lose your trust over time, rather than thinking they have to earn your trust. Because nobody who is high quality wants to earn your trust. That's just a game they don't want to play. It's stupid. They don't want to have to deal with that. You should trust everyone from the beginning, and if they make you lose your trust in them, then you need to analyze whether or not it's big enough of a trust break for you to break up with them. And in most cases, I actually would say those losses in trust actually should lead to a breakup. Because if you can't trust your partner anymore, then what does the relationship stand on anymore? Trust is basically a foundation of relationships. There are a few other things that matter, but it's huge. It's integral to the success of a relationship. And if you lose trust in the person you're in a relationship with, that's just a very big thing. You shouldn't just kind of slide it under the rug. And I know that sometimes it can be hard because you really like the person. Heck, maybe you're in love with them. But you have to realize at some point that it's okay for you to love people who aren't good for you. That doesn't mean you should stay with them. It really doesn't. Some people are horrible for you, and even if you love them, it doesn't change the fact that they're horrible for you. So please get into the point where you start putting yourself first and practicing self-love enough that you make decisions that are good for you, that you understand that no matter how much you like someone, you still have to make sure they're actually good for you. You just don't want to end up in those situations where you allow someone to continuously keep breaking your trust, because the longer you stay with someone who's doing that, the more you're going to end up in that cycle that I told you about earlier. You're just going to start thinking that that's acceptable behavior in relationships when it's not. It's all what you are willing to tolerate. So don't tolerate that. But always go into relationships trusting the other person and basically letting them lose your trust over time. That's the way it should be. So I hope you've understood what I mean here, because I just feel like this is such an important thing. And so many people basically just allow themselves to make poor decisions, and then they end up in that repeated relationship cycle, and then they wonder why they can't find someone good, and they don't realize that it's actually their fault. They're the one who aren't taking the time to work on themselves to develop these standards and mentalities to attract better people. I know it hurts. It really does, realizing that you can be holding yourself back. But I want to tell it to you straight, because I know this is how it works, and I can't tell you that, oh, it's easy to work on and that sort of thing, because it's not. But the good thing is, when something is your fault and that means you're in control of it. You can choose to make life better for yourself going forward, and I hope that you will. This is basically tough love, because I just don't want to lie to you and make it seem like it's easier. It does take a lot of work, but trust me, it really is important to not let your trust issues become a permanent thing. You want to get rid of them as soon as possible and start treating people in that way where you trust everyone from the beginning, and then if they lose your trust, then you let them go away from your life. You kick them out of your life. But you don't want to go into relationships making people have to earn your trust. Anyway, I hope this video helped you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci.